Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving into a ridiculously simple yet totally game-changing playbook for getting exactly what you want out of life. We're looking at some source material that literally promises to unlock the secret to hitting your biggest goals. And spoiler alert, it isn't about working yourself into the ground or reinventing the wheel. It's about mastering one surprisingly straightforward skill.
According to the text, if there's just one art in life you need to learn inside and out, it all boils down to this staggering single-word formula: ask. That's it, just ask. I know, it sounds almost too easy, doesn't it? But as we unpack what this actually looks like in practice, you're going to see the profound methodology hiding right behind that tiny three-letter word.
Okay, let's break this down. To ask simply means figuring out exactly what you want. It's about clearly, unapologetically defining your desires. The source highlights a massive paradigm shift here. You've got to stop just being a hard worker and transform yourself into a successful receiver. Look, hard work is fantastic, but if you haven't mastered the art of asking, you're basically leaving your success entirely up to chance.
So here's our playbook for today's explainer. We're going to cover 1. The ultimate success formula. 2. The mechanics of receiving. 3. Teaspoons versus the bucket. 4. Asking with intelligence. 5. Asking with faith. And finally, 6. The 90-day challenge.
Let's jump right into section 1, the ultimate success formula and that crucial shift in mindset.
Now, what's really fascinating here is the contrast. The source describes a person who wakes up and hits it hard every single day, giving 100%. But there is a huge red flag. They don't have a single scrap of paper actually outlining their goals. They're a good worker, sure, but a terrible asker. To actually succeed, you have to level up. You can't just be a good worker, you absolutely must become a good asker who clearly defines exactly what they're sweating for.
Moving right along to section 2, the mechanics of receiving, and the 3 key points that make it work.
The source breaks this down so logically. First off, the act of asking triggers this totally unique mental and emotional machinery. It's the spark that starts the whole engine. Second, receiving isn't actually the hard part. Receiving is automatic. Seriously, if you aren't getting what you want, your biggest roadblock might just be that you're failing to ask in the first place. And third, success is incredibly abundant. Think of it like a massive ocean. It's not in short supply, and it definitely hasn't all been rationed out before you got to the front of the line.
Here's the kicker. You don't actually need to completely understand how all this mental machinery works. Think about it like this. Some people are obsessed with studying the roots, right? They need to know exactly how the soil and the nutrients create the tree before they'll do anything. But other people, they're just picking the fruit. You want to be a fruit picker. Asking is literally just pushing the button that gets the machinery moving. You don't have to be a master mechanic to drive a car. Just push the button by asking, instead of getting bogged down studying the roots.
This brings us to a brilliant visual metaphor in section 3, teaspoons versus the bucket, and how we approach that ocean.
I really want you to think about this for a second. When you walk up to that massive ocean of success, what exactly are you bringing with you? Because remember, success isn't rationed. There is plenty of water for everybody. So the ocean isn't the problem here. The ocean is infinite. The real problem is the container you're choosing to bring to it. The text gives us this vivid, kind of hilarious warning. Some people walk right up to this vast, abundant ocean of success holding a tiny little teaspoon. You've got to look at the sheer size of the ocean and trade that teaspoon in for at least a bucket. As the source jokingly points out, bring a bucket if only so the kids down at the beach won't make fun of you. It's a funny image, but it hits the nail right on the head. You have to expand your personal capacity to receive.
All right, section 4, asking with intelligence and defining your metrics.
Now, asking with intelligence doesn't mean you need to sound super smart or use big fancy vocabulary. It means being crystal clear, highly specific, and absolutely never mumbling your desires. You don't get anywhere in life by mumbling. The universe, or that mental machinery we were just talking about, it just cannot process a vague request.
To fix this, you have to define the exact metrics of what you're asking for. You've got to describe what you want down to the absolute most granular details. How wide is it? How high? When? Exactly? Do you need it? What's the specific size? The exact color? The precise amount? You literally have to define the whole shebang with zero ambiguity.
Why does all this crazy detail matter? Because the better you describe those metrics, the more your goals start acting like a giant magnet. Clearly defined goals quite literally pull you in their direction. The more intelligently and specifically you describe what you want, the stronger that magnetic pull gets, drawing you right toward it.
Which leads perfectly into section 5, asking with faith and the childlike equation.
There is a really fascinating dichotomy here. See, as adults, we're naturally way too skeptical. We doubt literally everything. So the source insists on this very specific formula. You have to use your adult intelligence to make the plans. Defining the height, the weight, the exact timeline. But the second that plan is made, you have to tap into a childlike faith to actually believe you're going to get it. You've got to believe in your goals the way a kid does, with pure, unadulterated faith and zero skepticism. Adult planning paired with childlike belief, that is exactly where the magic happens.
And that brings us to our final part, Section 6, the 90-day challenge and putting all of this to the test.
The source material throws down a very direct, tangible challenge to everyone taking this in right now. Just try it. Take this formula of intelligent, highly specific, and completely faithful asking and put it to the test for exactly 90 days.
I mean, really, what is the absolute worst that could happen? As the text reminds us, if it doesn't work out, you can always just go back to your old ways. You can go right back to being a good worker with 0 written goals. But remember, the world admires the doers. The world respects the people who actually take these concepts and test drive them in the real world. So be a doer for the next 90 days. Which leaves us with this final, thrilling question to kickstart your own journey right now. What exactly are you going to ask for? What exact bucket are you bringing to the ocean over these next 90 days? Remember, don't mumble. Write it down, define the color, the size, the timeline, and step right up to the water. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I absolutely cannot wait to see what you ask for.